All right, on to the Miami Dolphins. A little quick preview. Obviously, we do our pregame every Sunday before the game. We will be back this Sunday live doing our Miami Dolphins preview. But a couple of things. I've seen this already from a couple of people. I saw it online a little bit, and then I saw Matt Perino, make a comment about it as well. So a couple of the other of the beat guys sort of picked up on what some of the fans were saying on social media, and any chance they activate Elam for Miami to have more athletic option at cornerback. People pointed out that, Elam had some success on Tyreek Hill last year. What are your thoughts on that? And just your thoughts on the Miami Dolphins in general?
I mean, it seems like it would be all hands on deck to try to stop Waddle and Hill, getting a different type of athletic
Mhm.
profile in there. I mean, we saw, Benford did get beat deep on that one play to Curtis Samuel, but obviously has played pretty solidly otherwise. But I don't think it's a bad idea to have more options on the table in the cornerback room for McDermott in this game. Like, I don't expect necessarily there to be a ton of changes on the defensive line rotation.
Mhm.
So I don't know who they would potentially
Mm.
inactivate
I think
to
Poona
get.
Ford might come. I think if 2 weeks out of Leonard Floyd's ankle, I think we could see Poona Ford back this week with Raheem Mostert and A-Chain doing what they did.
Yeah, and it's just I think people are looking for an opportunity for Elam to kind of slide back into that active
Mhm.
roster on game day, and um, I get the sense that it rightfully so that people are getting restless, right? Like
Mhm.
we haven't dressed our first round pick from a year ago at all to start this year. I know we're trying to be patient with it, but I think we're looking for the right spot as a projection to put him into the lineup, and maybe this is it. But I think generally the bigger storyline here is like
Mhm.
how can this guy get on the field?
Yeah, I mean, if you play him, if you activate him, I still don't think he's going to see snaps unless there's injuries, right? Like Christian Benford's your CB2, like that's it. So like, are you going to deactivate him are you going to deactivate Dane Jackson? I don't think you're going to deactivate Dane Jackson, who's sort of your steady Eddie. He's your backup guy. You feel really comfortable and confident with him. So Elam just kind of sits there, and he is there in case like break glass, in case of emergency. Maybe Benford does get rocked, or maybe guys do get hurt and you need to go to Kyrie and it's nice to have him active and dressed. But I really think he's like, I don't think we're going to see it this week. I
Yeah.
really, really don't, unless the Buffalo Bills really are playing the matchups and want to go more man to man or do something extremely different. I just don't envision Kyrie Elam entering the starting lineup, but I could see Poona Ford back into his fifth DT spot for Kingsley Jonathan. And it's going to be really interesting to see how the Buffalo Bills decide to defend Tua Tagovailoa and this insane speed that the Miami Dolphins have on offense. I think the New England Patriots were on the right path.
Yep.
And what the New England Patriots did was they did a lot of three safety stuff. Like I think they invented the three deep shell. Like they were going a little too far, I think, in the first half with it. But New England's strategy was pretty much to take the entire middle of the field away, and it was to make Tua Tagovailoa beat them throwing outside the hashes. Now he did beat them dinking and dunking. He did beat them outside the hashes, but I think that's the Buffalo Bills' best chance, and it did slow Tua down compared to his other 2 weeks of production. So I think the New England Patriots, I think that they laid the blueprint for what to do. I'm not saying it'll work, but I think that's what the Buffalo Bills are going to attempt when trying to slow Tua down. As I think they're going to do everything in their power to take the middle of the field away. And with Terrell Bernard in there instead of Tremaine Edmonds, it's going to be really interesting to see how they go about trying to do that.
Yeah, and I think you're right with New England. I think what they held Tyreek to 40 yards. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's an accomplishment in itself. I think um, they can learn some things from that game that New England had, but at the end of the day, like I think you're spot on. Like Tua's got to beat you outside the hashes. He's played well. I mean, there's
Yeah.
nothing you can really take away from Tua. I don't think this year. Like what you can't let happen is what the Denver Broncos let happen last week, and that's like Tyreek Hill scoring on like the second or third play of the game on a 54
Mm-hmm.
yard crosser, and like that's the kind of stuff you can't have
Yeah.
happen, right? Like they're gonna get they're going to move the ball, right? And the Miami Dolphins are
Mm-hmm.
going to score points, but you have to make them earn it. You
Yeah.
cannot let them have easy ones. And that's
Yeah. Don't let them house the big plays, shrink the field and make them score on you the traditional way in the short field in the red zone.
exactly. So I think that's what the Bills need to
It,
do going into this game.
mm.
And And maybe give them a little taste of their own medicine too, right? Do a little bit of your own running game,
Mhm.
kind of show that you have that in your arsenal as well if you're the Bills. So
And I don't want this is gonna sound like a slight to the Miami Dolphins, and it's gonna sound like a slight to Tua Tagovailoa, and I don't want it to sound like a slight because I have nothing but respect for what they've accomplished this year on offense. But the success of the Miami Dolphins this year has come from the fact that they are getting the ball out so gosh darn quickly that that offensive line cannot be
mhm,
exposed, and Tua is hitting his first read all the time, right?
yep,
So if you're the Buffalo Bills, and again, oh, it's disrespectful. You're disrespect. No, I'm not. Like they're doing what they want to do, and they're doing it very, very effectively. They're executing, and they are doing what they want to do. It's not
yep,
disrespect. I'm just saying it like it is. What the Buffalo Bills did last year that was effective before Tua got knocked out of that game was they took away Tua's first read. They did everything in their power to make Tua Tagovailoa have to scan the football field. And if the Buffalo Bills do that, I question whether the Miami Dolphins offensive line can hold up. And if the Miami Dolphins offensive line can't hold up, maybe the Buffalo Bills defensive line, if Tua has to hold on to the ball
mhm,
longer, can have more success than other defensive lines have had against this Miami Dolphins team. Now, their running game counteracts this because you got to respect the running game, I think, more than you did last year, which is making what they're doing so effective. But Hyde and Poyer were so integral last year early on before Tua got knocked out of that game. They were just, they knew exactly who the first read was, and they were bracketing the shit out of them. And it was throwing Tua for a loop. So it'll be interesting to see if the Buffalo Bills employ that same strategy, and it'll be interesting to see if that strategy will be effective.
yeah. And I also think like the Bills, which they haven't been great at defending so far this year, is running backs as receivers, right? And we
Mhm,
saw Miami do that with amazing success against the Denver Broncos yesterday. Like Akane and Mostert in the passing game as receivers. Screens have been an
mhm,
issue for the Bills defending screens. They haven't defended those well. And that's an area where even if the Bills maybe somewhat slow down Miami's
mhm,
passing game, that's another way Miami can neutralize the Bills pass rush with a subpar offensive line is in the screen game with Akane
mhm.
and Mostert. So that would be something of concern for me as well as the Bills head into this game.
Offensively, can I just say this? And I know Josh Allen has had success against it, so knock on wood. Hopefully, I don't jinx anything. But I'm just so happy that there's no more kamikaze Josh Boyer. Like I'm just so thankful that we
Yeah.
don't have to deal with the absolute nuttery of Josh Boyer and just throwing the kitchen sink at Josh Allen because it worked last year, right? Like it got in Josh Allen's head. It made Josh Allen make some unwise decisions. Josh Allen has been very good against pressure his entire career, but something about what Josh Boyer did in that heat last year and guys going down and guys going down, it got to Josh a little bit. And I'm just thankful that there's no more kamikaze Josh Boyer. It's that Fangio, it's that too high shell. It's forcing Josh Allen to be patient. I think he's shown the last 2 weeks that he can do that, and he can do that pretty well. So Josh Allen's had success against Vic Fangio before. So I'm just Josh Boyer wasn't a good defensive coordinator. That's why he got fired. But like he was fucking crazy. He was nuts.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it just wasn't like fun to watch because I was just on the edge of my seats like the whole time with just the way he called the defense. So I think I'll be stressed as hell, but it'll be I think a little bit less stressful than years past. And RJ Melville with the comment of the evening saying we still have to deal with the nuttery from Christian Wilkins. And yes, we do.
Yes.
Jalen Phillips should be back for this game. He might have even been back in the last game against the Broncos. Uh, Jalen Waddle will be back from his concussion 2 weeks removed. I think he almost played last week. So
Yep.
Dolphins are healthy. Bills are healthy. It should be a really, really, really fun game on Sunday. And by fun, I mean heart attack inducing,
Stressful. Yes.
stressful, anxiety riddled, just everything about it.